Good morning, my friends. It's a beautiful day. I hope you get a chance to go outside and enjoy it and partake of God's beauty. I have a wonderful story for you today. It is from an entire book in the Bible, and it's about an amazing woman by the name of Esther. We heard about the amazing woman Ruth. Today it's Esther. Now remember, when I told you the story of Ruth, that's my middle name, Ruth. Well, today, Esther, I actually have a little sister whose name is Esther. So it's kind of amazing, isn't it? Ruth and Esther, books in the Bible. Family. Well, Esther was a tremendous leader, just like Ruth was in her own right. Well, King Xerxes was in charge of the kingdom. And he decided he wanted everyone to know how wonderful and how great the kingdom was and how much wealth there was. So he decided to hold a huge banquet and invited everyone. Didn't matter how old or how young or how much money you had. Everyone was invited and everyone got to eat off the king's table. Everyone. Everyone got to drink from the king's cups. Everyone, didn't matter who you were, because the king wanted to say to everyone, look what we have. Isn't this wonderful? Well, the Queen Vashti, decided she also wanted to have a banquet, so she invited a bunch of women to have like a girls' party. Well, the king was in high spirits, and he decided, hey, everybody's seen all this stuff, but they haven't seen Queen Vashti. Let's have Queen Vashti come in her robes and her crown and show her off. So he sent word to Queen Vashti to come, and she said, no, I'm busy right now. I'm having my girl party. The king wasn't very happy. He was not happy at all. So unhappy was he that he consulted his council to see what he should do. And they said, well, if you don't do something, then the women in the kingdom are going to say, well, she didn't listen to her husband, so we don't have to listen to our husband. So there needs to be some kind of a punishment. And you need to make it very public that, Vashti's in trouble because she didn't listen to you. And so he issued a decree saying that Queen Vashti could never enter his presence ever again. And she had to leave the palace. And so everyone was told that because she disobeyed the king, she couldn't be in the palace anymore. She couldn't be Queen Vashti. So after some time, King Xerxes, he kind of calmed down. His anger was a little bit less. And he decided, you know what, we really need to have a queen. So he decided he wanted to have every young maiden who was beautiful, brought to the kingdom, paraded in front of him, and he would pick a new queen. Well, Esther was extremely beautiful, but she wasn't of the same lineage as King Xerxes, meaning she was Jewish. And King Xerxes didn't care. He just wanted every pretty girl. And so he said, come on. Well, as soon as King Xerxes took one look at Queen Esther, who was not queen yet, took one look at her, he fell in love. And so he is like, she's going to be my wife. So he made her queen. Well, you had to have permission to go before the king. And so she kind of didn't really want to be where she was at. She wasn't real thrilled with being Queen Esther. But she was there, and she couldn't disobey the king because she knew what could happen. So here she is in the palace as queen, doesn't want to be queen, but she has no choice. And then she has an uncle. His name is Mordecai. And Mordecai works for the king. And Mordecai at one time saved King Xerxes' life. But nobody knows that Mordecai is Esther's uncle. Well, King Xerxes has one of his people that works very close to him. His name is Haman. And Haman hates the Jews. Hates the Jews. Can't stand the Jews. But Haman doesn't know that Esther is Mordecai's niece. He doesn't know she's a Jew. Mordecai has told her to keep it a secret. Don't tell anyone that we're related. Don't say a word. It could go bad for you. So she's in the palace, doesn't want to be there, and gets told, you can't tell anybody who you are. What kind of life is this? Well, all of a sudden, word gets out that Haman has gone to King Xerxes and issued a decree saying that all the Jews need to be rounded up and killed. But King Xerxes doesn't know Mordecai is Jewish. And all of a sudden, information gets out to Mordecai to find out about this. And so Mordecai goes to Esther under the cover of darkness and says, you need to go talk to the king. It's time for you to say something. God put you here in this place at this time for a reason. You are here for such a time as this, Esther. Esther was scared. So she decided to invite the king and Haman to a dinner. And they came. She got scared. Didn't say anything. So Mordecai came to see her again and said, you got to do this, girl. You got to do this. You got to go. You got to do this. All the Jews are going to die. And that includes me. Your own people will die because of Haman. So Esther takes the courage and she prepares another dinner, invites Haman and King Xerxes to the dinner. They show up and the king says, this is wonderful, but why are you doing this? Is there something you want? Is there something you need? Well, King Xerxes really, really, really liked Queen Esther. And she said, yeah, actually, I don't want to die. King Xerxes is like, what do you mean? Why would you die? And she looked at Haman and said, well, he has issued a decree that said all Jewish people need to die. And that includes Mordecai, who's my uncle, and me. I'm Jewish. All of a sudden, Haman's like, oh, that's not good. King Xerxes was livid. He was absolutely livid. He loved Mordecai and he loved Esther. So instead of having all of the Jews killed, King Xerxes had Haman and all of Haman's family taken out and killed, and said, never will anyone touch my wife or her family or her descendants. Sounds kind of like a very creepy story that Haman and his family get killed. But Esther had to stand up for her family. She had to stand up for her beliefs. She had to do something she didn't want to do. But it also took her uncle coming and telling her, you're here for a reason. You have a job to do, and God put you here to save your people. I believe God has something for each and every one of us to accomplish in our lifetime. And sometimes it may not seem like what we want to do. Esther didn't want to be in the palace. She didn't want to be queen. She didn't want to go to the king and tell him what was going on. But she did it anyways. And there have been things in my life that I didn't want to do, places I didn't want to go, jobs I really didn't want to have. But I did them because I knew God had put me in such a place for his time and his reasons. And God's doing the same thing for you. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's hard, but you just have to pray and ask God to guide you. So let's do that right now. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for Esther, for being a shining example of stepping up, following the plan that God has for your life. Help us to do what you have called us to do, even if it's hard. Help us to be patient, loving, and kind to all those we meet. In your very precious name, amen. Now, I told you I have a sister named Esther. I also have a sister named Rachel. Rachel, Sarah, Esther. We have Bible names. Isn't that awesome? Well, my little sister's name, Esther, and Esther from the Bible, has a name. The name Esther has a meaning. My name means princess, God's princess. And Rachel means little lamb. Esther means star, shining star. So I have a craft today. We're going to make a shining star. And the reason why we're going to make a shining star is, one, the name Esther means star, but also because God calls us to be shining stars for Him. So I have some different examples I want to show you, and then I'm going to show you how to make one. So I've made a couple of them. So it's, I'll show you what you need first. So you need popsicle sticks, and I have the little ones, and then I even have the great big ones, the tongue depressor size. And it doesn't matter, you can use either size. I actually made an example from both. And you need 5 of these. And you can use tacky glue or hot glue. I used hot glue because I was in a hurry, because I'm not very patient. And so I made one using glitter, and then I painted on just regular glue. I used a paintbrush and painted the glue on the star once I had the star made. That way you don't get great big globs, and it dries fast. And if you don't have little paintbrushes, you can use Q-tips. They work. They kind of, you might have to change out the Q-tips a little bit because the cotton balls up a little bit, but it works really good. So just brush on the glue, and then I had glitter, and I just sprinkled some over the top. I like to sprinkle it. I don't like the ones that dump, because then you have glitter everywhere. So here's my plate, and this is all the glitter that I have extra on. See that? Isn't that great? So that's that star. And then I made this one. Isn't that one pretty? I love this one. This is with the big ones. This is with the tongue depressor size. And so I used hot glue to put the glue line down, and then I just took different size buttons and put it down. Now maybe you don't have a bunch of buttons. You could use sequins or pom-poms or anything that you come up with that you might want to use to decorate. And I'm going to show you how to make one right now. So I have taken little popsicle sticks, and I used watercolor, and I just painted each stick with watercolor. Turn that one around. So I have 5 sticks, and they're all painted a different color. So I have yellow, purple, blue, red, and green. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with 2 sticks, and I'm going to use hot glue just because it's quick. And I'm going to put a dot of glue on the tip, and I'm going to put the one on top to make a V. Okay, and now, might be easier if I do it this way, just for demonstration. Now I'm going to put glue on the other tip, the tip of another one, grab another stick, and I'm going to lay it over so that it kind of makes that kind of look, right there. And now I'm going to do the red ones. I started with the green and the red, and I'm going to put a red one here, dot on the red, and I'm going to lay that right across. And I like the hot glue because it dries so fast. Okay, you're seeing that? Now I'm going to take and put a dot of glue on the end of both of those. And then I just lay, and ta-da! I have a star. Now if I wanted to, I could decorate it a little bit more But I kind of like this one. So I have 3 different examples. I have the one with the glitter, the paint, and the buttons. And as you can tell, this one's made with great big ones, great big sticks. So what can you do with these? Well, these aren't very heavy. You could take and put magnets on the back and then put them on your refrigerator. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, put little strings on them, and I'm going to put them on my windows at home so that everybody can see the stars I make. And I'm just going to hang these in the window as a display. You guys have some fun today. Be a shining star for God. Be ready. God might call you to do something crazy. Love y'all. Have a great one.